You know that engine block in your car, or maybe the metal case on your smartphone? There's a really good chance a lot of those parts were made using a process called die casting. Basically, you're injecting molten metal into a mold under incredibly high pressure. It's an amazing process for sure, but it also comes with some pretty serious risks. So let's pull back the curtain and really explore the world of safety that exists behind the metal we use every single day.
And that really begs the question, right? When you pick up a perfectly made metal object, you don't really think about the intense, fiery environment it came from. So just how dangerous is it for the people working with all that molten metal in those massive machines?
Well, the answer might actually surprise you. It can be boiled down to a single number, 4.3. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics for 2014, that was the rate of injuries and illnesses for every 100 full-time employees in the die-casting industry. But a number by itself doesn't tell the whole story. What does 4.3 really mean?
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. At 4.3, die casting is statistically just a tiny bit more dangerous than making cars, which comes in at 4.2. But get this, it's actually safer than manufacturing soft drinks. Yeah, that's right, soft drink manufacturing has a rate of 5.9. I mean, that is probably not what you'd expect, is it? It really makes you rethink your assumptions about where the biggest workplace risks are.
So, to really understand what's going on, here's our game plan. We're going to break down the top 5 injuries, then we'll dig into their causes and how to prevent them. After that, we'll take a look at the work environment itself, and finally, we'll talk about what it takes to build a genuine culture of safety.
All right, so what are the specific dangers that workers are facing day in and day out? Let's get right into the top 5 injuries and see what the data really tells us.
Okay, this table tells a fascinating story. You see sprains and strains up at number 1, which is pretty common across a lot of industries. Fractures are also quite a bit higher, but the real headline here, the one that makes you go, wow, is heat burns. The rate in die casting is 11.3, compared to just 1.5 for all private industry. That is more than 7 times higher, and it just perfectly highlights the unique hazards of working with molten metal.
So, knowing the risks is the first step, but the next, and way more important step, is knowing how to prevent them. So let's connect these numbers to some real-world actions and build a plan for safety.
First up, let's tackle the most common category: sprains, strains, and tears. Now, these are the kinds of injuries that can happen in almost any physical job, but they have some very specific causes inside a die casting plant.
The causes are pretty much what you'd expect. Things like overreaching, lifting something the wrong way, or rushing to fix a problem. And the prevention is just as straightforward. Get the right training for every task, ask for help when something's heavy, and always, always lift with your legs, not your back. It sounds so simple, but it is absolutely critical.
And what's really insightful here is the psychology behind why these things happen. It's not always because someone is being careless. A lot of the time, it's a really dedicated employee who's just trying to fix a problem fast to keep the production line moving. It's just a powerful reminder that good intentions are never, ever a substitute for safe procedure.
Okay, next, let's group a few of these together: bruises, fractures, and cuts. Now, obviously, they're all different injuries, but they often share common causes. Things like impacts, slips and falls, and contact with sharp objects or moving machinery.
So prevention here is really all about awareness and putting up barriers. It means keeping your body a safe distance from moving parts. It means never placing your hands over, around, or through a safety guard. That's literally what it's there for. It's also about good housekeeping to prevent slips, using the right personal protective equipment or PPE, and making absolutely sure all machine guards are in place before you start.
And now we come to the injury that truly sets die casting apart from so many other jobs: heat burns. This is where the danger becomes completely unique to this environment.
I mean, let's look at this comparison again, because it is just staggering. A rate of 11.3 versus 1.5. This isn't a small difference. It's a fundamental risk of this job that demands constant vigilance and very specific protocols. We're talking about a risk that's over 7 times higher. It's huge.
The causes are crystal clear: hot castings just out of the mold, splashes of molten metal, and just touching hot equipment. The prevention is equally clear. It means you absolutely have to wear specialized PPE like gloves and sleeves, you have to keep a safe distance whenever liquid metal is being moved, and you have to be incredibly strict about who can even go into the high heat melting areas.
And this leads us to what might be the single most important piece of advice in the whole building. A metal casting that can give you a severe burn might look exactly the same as one that's cool to the touch. The rule is simple. You have to assume every single casting is hot until you know for a fact that it isn't.
So individual actions are key, but they all happen within a bigger context, right? So let's zoom out a little and look at how the overall work environment plays a role in safety.
A safe plant is a clean and well-maintained one. That means everything from keeping the floors clear of slipping and tripping hazards to regularly inspecting all the equipment. It means using tools like compressed air safely and being constantly aware of traffic like forklifts. And in an environment this hot, it also means something as basic as staying hydrated and watching for the signs of heat illness. So, we've covered the injuries, we've covered prevention, and we've covered the environment. But you can have all the rules in the world and they just won't work without the right mindset. And that brings us to the final, and honestly, the most crucial element, building a culture of safety.
When you boil it all down, it comes to this. Safety isn't just a list of rules that comes down from the main office. It's a cooperative effort. It's a shared belief where every single person is actively looking out for themselves and for everyone around them. It's a team sport.
And you build this culture on simple, everyday actions. It's about asking yourself, did I remember to replace that guard I had to take off for maintenance? Am I taking an active part in checking my equipment, or am I just hoping someone else did it? And most importantly, do I have the courage to speak up the second I see something unsafe, or am I just going to walk on by?
Which really leaves us with a final thought. We can all follow rules because we have to, or we can take ownership of safety because we feel a responsibility to ourselves and to our colleagues. And choosing to see it as a responsibility, not just a rule, well, that might just be the most important safety measure of all.